Welcome back, everyone. We've got, well, kind of a heavy one today.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of those cases, that really sticks with you.
Definitely. And, well, disturbing on so many levels.
Right. So today we're diving into the case of Reta Mays,
Ah, yes. Reta
a
Mays.
former nursing assistant convicted of murdering 7 elderly veterans at a VA hospital.
Wow. 7.
Yeah, 7. Now, at first glance, it might seem like just another true crime story, but trust me.
I bet. What makes this one stand out?
What makes this case so disturbing is that Mays, she didn't fit the profile of a typical killer
Really?
at all.
Like, what do you mean by that? What was she like?
Well, she was described as, ordinary, churchgoer, a veteran herself.
A veteran.
Yeah. Served in the Army National Guard,
Okay.
deployed to Iraq and Kuwait,
Well,
even.
that's even more, that makes it even more unsettling, right?
Right. It really challenges, I think, our assumptions about who's capable of such horrific acts.
For sure. It makes you wonder about, like, the darkness that can hide, beneath the surface.
Absolutely. So, to understand this case, we really need to kind of unpack who Reta Mays was.
Okay, yeah.
We need to, get to know her a little better. She was born in West Virginia in 1975.
All right.
Like I said, served in the Army National Guard.
Okay.
And before becoming a nursing assistant, get this, she worked as a corrections officer.
Oh, wow.
So we're already seeing a pattern here, right?
Yeah, I see.
Seeking out positions of authority in environments where, well, individuals are particularly vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yeah, like in a position to be taken advantage of.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
And to make things even more complex, she was described as an active member of her local church.
Oh, wow. So really, like, living a double life.
It seems that way, yeah. A seemingly normal life on the surface,
Right.
but underneath, well.
Yeah, a lot more going on.
Right. And that's part of what makes this case so fascinating and so relevant to all of us. It forces us to confront these uncomfortable questions
Yeah,
about, I don't know, about the systems we trust,
right.
the people we interact with,
Yeah.
and this potential for darkness to exist even in the most unexpected places.
It's a good reminder to, like, always be aware of your surroundings and the people you're dealing with,
I
right?
think so, yeah. So let's move on to the crimes themselves.
Okay,
Mays worked at the Louis A. Johnson VA Medical Center in Clarksburg, West Virginia,
got it.
starting in 2015. And between July 2017 and June 2018, 7 elderly veterans under her care died from a very specific cause: severe hypoglycemia.
Hypoglycemia, so low blood sugar.
Exactly. Dangerously low blood sugar.
And these were the veterans under her care.
Yes, and here's the crucial point.
Okay.
These veterans, they were not dietetic.
Oh, wow.
They should not have been experiencing these sudden, drastic drops in blood sugar.
That's suspicious, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was a huge red flag for investigators.
Yeah,
They knew something was terribly wrong.
right. Of course.
And as they dug deeper,
What did they find?
well, a horrifying pattern emerged. Mays, she was injecting these veterans with lethal doses of insulin.
Insulin. But she wasn't even authorized to administer medication, was she?
No, she wasn't.
That's just,
It's beyond disturbing, right?
it really is targeting these vulnerable individuals, people who relied on her for care.
It's hard to comprehend,
Definitely.
to really understand the suffering she caused.
Yeah.
I want to share a detail about one of the victims,
Okay.
Archie Edgell. He was 84 years old,
All right.
a Korean War veteran.
Oh, wow.
Initially, he experienced a drop in blood sugar, but, the medical staff, they were able to stabilize him.
Oh.
But tragically, his blood sugar plummeted again
Oh, no.
shortly after, and he died.
Oh, that's terrible.
And an autopsy revealed that he had been injected with insulin.
Injected.
Yeah,
Multiple times.
4 times,
Yeah.
actually.
Wow. That's just awful.
It really is, and it highlights the calculated nature of her actions, right?
Right. It wasn't just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It was a pattern.
Yeah, a pattern of deliberate harm.
So how did they finally catch her?
Well, after multiple suspicious deaths, the VA hospital launched an internal investigation.
Okay.
Mays was fired in June of 2018.
Oh,
And the FBI and the Department of Veterans Affairs Inspector General,
right.
they took over.
Makes sense. So a pretty big investigation then.
Oh yeah, this was complex.
I bet.
It spanned over 2 years.
2 years.
Over 300 interviews.
Wow.
They reviewed medical records, exhumed bodies,
Oh my gosh.
and meticulously analyzed digital footprints.
So like piecing together a puzzle, but with, years of data and hundreds of lives involved.
Exactly. And while Mays was a person of interest, from the start,
Right.
it took time to build a solid case.
And to gather enough evidence to arrest her.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
right? I mean, it's chilling to think, while all this was going on,
Right.
she was out there
Free.
potentially putting others at risk.
Exactly.
It's scary to think about.
It really is. So the investigation, it eventually revealed a lot about May's mindset.
Okay, so what did they find out?
Well, during those 2 years, she was interviewed 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah. And initially, she denied any involvement.
Of course, yeah.
But investigators started uncovering these, disturbing aspects of her online activity.
Oh. Like what? What was she doing online?
Well, they found that she'd been researching female serial killers.
Female serial killers, wow.
And get this, she was even watching shows about nurses who kill.
Nurses who kill?
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy.
It's a little more than creepy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it makes you wonder about her motives.
Right, like why was she so interested in these stories?
Was she seeking inspiration? Or was it something, more complex? Yeah, like a morbid fascination or something.
Exactly.
And didn't she also, make some phone calls to her husband?
Oh, right. So while he was in jail.
He was in jail.
Yeah, for child pornography charges.
Oh, wow.
In these calls, she talked about, wanting to strangle patients.
Strangle patients.
Yeah. And she even said that she felt relieved when those she perceived, as having no quality of life when they died.
That's just chilling.
It paints a very disturbing picture of her state of mind, right?
It really does. I mean, it's hard to know for sure what was going on in her head.
It really is.
But, I mean, those phone calls, her online activity, it definitely suggests something more than just, PTSD and stress, like she claimed later.
It's a complex picture, for sure.
Yeah, one that's hard to make sense of, really.
So in July 2020, Mays was finally arrested,
Okay.
charged with 7 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of assault with intent to commit murder.
Wow. So what happened then?
Well, she pleaded guilty.
Guilty.
Yeah, and she waived her right to a grand jury.
That's unusual, isn't it?
Very unusual.
Like, why would she do that?
It suggests that maybe she wanted to avoid a lengthy trial.
Possibly. Maybe she just knew, with all the evidence against her.
Yeah, maybe.
Even during her sentencing, did she ever give a clear motive?
No, not really. She vaguely attributed her actions to PTSD and stress.
PTSD and stress.
Yeah, and she even claimed that she wanted to help patients die gently.
Gently.
I know, right?
It's hard to reconcile that with, injecting them with lethal doses of insulin.
It really is. I mean, was it truly an act of, misguided compassion?
Yeah, I mean, was there something darker at play?
Right, like a need for control, maybe.
A fascination with death, even,
Yeah.
or maybe even just a really warped sense of power over life and death.
We may never truly know.
It's a mystery.
And even with her conviction and sentencing,
Right.
there's still this sense of unease, right?
Oh, for sure.
We still don't fully understand what drove her to do this.
It's a chilling reminder that some things, they just defy explanation.
They do.
And that's what makes this case, so profoundly disturbing.
It really makes you think,
It does.
Could something like this happen at my local hospital?
Yeah, that's a question we all should be asking.
Right. Are there vulnerabilities like this in other healthcare systems?
Well, the truth is no system is perfect, right?
True.
And human nature, well, it's complex.
It really is. So what can we do? I mean, what can hospitals, healthcare organizations, what can they do to prevent this kind of tragedy from happening again?
Well, one crucial thing is addressing staffing shortages.
Staffing shortages.
Yeah. Yeah. When hospitals are understaffed, it just creates this environment where, mistakes are more likely to happen.
Right.
And it's easier to miss those red flags, the warning signs.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So adequate staffing means
Better patient monitoring.
Right.
Better oversight of medication administration.
So is that something that we as individuals can actually do something about?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How?
Well, we can contact our elected officials,
Right.
support organizations that are pushing for better healthcare policies.
Right.
And even just talk to our own healthcare providers about these issues.
Okay, so just start the conversation.
Exactly.
Got
And another thing, improving training and education for healthcare professionals,
Okay.
that's critical. And it's not just about, technical skills. It's also about recognizing and reporting suspicious behavior.
Oh, so how to spot those red flags.
Exactly, because sometimes, the people who are closest to a situation,
Yeah.
they're the first ones to notice that something's off.
Makes sense.
So we need to empower them, right?
Empower them to
speak up, to
Yeah.
feel confident that if they report something, it'll be taken seriously.
So it's about creating this culture,
A culture of vigilance, yeah.
vigilance and accountability.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't just about protecting patients. It's about protecting the healthcare workers, too.
Oh, that's a good
A
point.
culture of safety and transparency, it benefits everyone.
It does. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think the takeaway here is that Even though this case, it's horrific and it's deeply disturbing,
It is.
it also offers these valuable lessons.
It does.
It forces us to confront this uncomfortable reality that evil can exist in the most unexpected places, right?
It can.
And it highlights the importance of, well, of everything we've been talking about.
Right. Vigilance, advocacy,
Yeah.
and really committing to building these safer systems.
I agree. So for our listeners, if you're interested in, delving deeper into this case,
Yeah.
we recommend checking out the full Wikipedia article on Reta Mays.
It's a good resource.
And there's some in-depth news coverage and documentaries that have been produced too.
Yeah, definitely worth exploring if you want to learn more.
It is. This is a story that really stays with you.
It really does, and it leaves you with a lot to think about.
It does. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
It's been heavy but important.
Important to have these conversations. Absolutely.
We'll be back soon with another one. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.